project. We're going to start at the prenatal stage. So my child was exposed to environmental pollution. She was exposed when she was in the womb, and used to work at a toxic waste site. I think her impacted stage was between the embryonic and fetal stage, and some long-term consequences she could have is have asthma, cystic fibrosis, or COPD. An intervention that I chose was regular doctor visits and keeping the immune system safe, and using tools such as an inhaler. Going into infancy and toddlerhood, her APGAR score was a 6, which meant she did need assistance, and I do believe that because of the exposed teratogen, her APGAR score was this low. Her age and gross fine motor skills at 9 months, she was able to play patty cake and sit up by herself and track things with her eyes. Her next motor skill I'd be looking for was to see if she can pull herself up and start walking and creating full sentences. Going into early childhood, going into Piaget's concept of adaptation, we talked about adaptation and what it looks like, and also assimilation and accommodation, which means a child is either fitting new information to existing mental framework or modifying those frameworks to accommodate new data when necessary. An example of this would be if a 1-year-old switches from a bottle to a sippy cup for the first time. They will try to drink out of the sippy cup the same way they've been drinking out of the bottle, but soon they learn that they can drink out of the sippy cup without tilting the bottle because it spills on them otherwise. Here's an illustration to show that assimilation and accommodation structure. Going into early and middle childhood, there are 4 main key stages. The first stage is from years 2 to 3. You can hold a crayon with your hands, fingers, turn pages in a book. From 3 to 4, your hand-eye coordination gets better, and you can copy simple patterns. From 4 to 5, you can draw more complex shapes, and your ability to color within lines improve. And then from 5 to 6, you are more skilled with intricate things and intricate shapes, cutting using the scissors, and also your fine motor skills are largely refined. Here is a drawing from Portia when she was about 4. You can see that her shapes aren't as clean, and her depth perception is a little off. And now at age 6, her depth perception is definitely a little bit better, and you can see her coloring within the lines, and everything's a bit more neat and refined. Going into educational cognitive development, there are 4 sections. You have traditional, you have constructive, social constructive, and cooperative. And the educational philosophy that I chose was social constructive because I do like how a regular constructive classroom worked, but I also felt like it needed more of a social learning environment, and I believe that social interactions can be one of the best ways for a child to learn. Going into adolescence and adulthood, we talked about Erik Erikson's theory of psychosocial development and the 8 stages from birth to essentially death, and how each stage is characterized by what that person will go through those significant years. And then we also talked about James Marcia's identity diffusion, and this is usually for somebody who's a bit more apathetic or unsure about their future. I received 2 postcards from my child. The first one talked about how she moved to a new school and was unsure about how she fit in. And the second one was after we talked a little bit and discussed her ethnicity and how she could make herself feel better, and she knows that now because of her ethnicity and because of the way she looks, it isn't the end of the world. Some fun facts. At 11, she started her first period. At 10, she had her tallest growth spurt. She kept growing until she was 15 to be 5'6". Her primary sexual characteristics were healthy. She was educated at a younger age of eating disorders. her thought processes started to develop from a concrete operational to a formal operational, and she is of a South Asian American descent. And so, she did have strong conflicting emotions about her ethnic minority, but after talking about it, we definitely went through it, and she understands that she is enough. And here's her report card. She is a girl. She was kind of weird when she was younger and like this weird green color. She shared a bed from ages 2 to 3. She had a silly lady with fairy wings as a crown as a imaginary friend. And in this picture below, she is 4 years. And this was my project. Thank you.